Hello everyone, my name is Jordan. If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the controversial parenting tag. I love watching these videos and I honestly haven't seen one that was like recent, really. I mean, I looked it up today because I was like, I'm not gonna do it if like nobody's going to watch it, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously you're posting on YouTube, you want to get views, but I've seen a couple of people still doing them, so I decided why not. A little bit about me before we get started. I am 21 years young. I am a mother of one sweet little boy. He'll be 2 in November 29th to be exact. His name is Hendrix. I do a lot of different videos on here, vlogging. I was doing reaction videos for a while. I don't plan on doing those anymore. They're a waste of time. Don't really like doing them. I like watching them, but I don't really want to do them anymore. That's not what I want my channel to be. I'll post makeup videos on here sometimes. I'll do tag videos, sit down videos. I do a little bit of it all. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Question number 1, pro-life or pro-choice? I honestly go both ways. I guess you could say I'm pro-choice just because who am I to tell somebody that they should or should not get an abortion. It's their bodies, their decisions. Not everybody's ready for a kid. Not everybody likes to wear condoms, if I'm just being completely honest. Not everybody agrees with birth control and all of that shit. So, sorry, all of that stuff. Nobody agrees with all of that, and that's perfectly fine. You know, that is your decision. Me personally, I could never get an abortion. I always told myself that if I ever got pregnant young, that I would get an abortion just because I knew I wouldn't be ready or whatever. But the moment I found out I was pregnant with my son, I knew I was going to keep him. I knew I had the support I needed from family and friends, and I knew that I would work my hardest to provide for my son, and he has been the biggest blessing. Before that, I really felt like I didn't have a purpose in this world, and I honestly feel like my purpose is to be a mom. Like, I do want to go to school eventually, but I feel like my happy place is just being a mom and giving all of my love to this tiny little human. 2, baby wearing. Is baby wearing when you have like the sack? Baby wearing, I did it for a little bit, but my son was honestly big. He was 8 pounds 6 ounces when he was born, and he's a big boy now. He's always been a little chunky guy, so I didn't baby wear him for long, although I do feel like it's a good bonding method, and it gets them to sleep really quickly. It's good for skin to skin too. You know, if you're just walking around your house, take your shirt off and wear your baby. I think it's a really good bonding moment. Circumcision. Again, personal choice, you know. I'm okay with it just because when I had my son, is that too much information? I don't know, I feel like they tell you that they can get diseases quicker and it's a lot harder to clean if they aren't circumcised. But I mean, again, personal decision, benefits with it, benefits without it. It's every parent's personal decision. Number 4, adoption. I do agree with adoption, just because, again, if you are religious or not even religious, you're just not ready to have a baby, but you don't agree with abortion, because abortion can be a very mentally, what's the word I'm looking for without cussing? It can really mess you up mentally. I don't know from personal experience, obviously, but from friends and just people I've talked to, it can mess you up mentally. If you don't want to deal with that guilt, I guess, for the rest of your life, even though you shouldn't feel guilty for making a decision about yourself and your body. Adoption is a good thing to do. Personally, I would love to adopt a child one day, just because the foster care system is such a cruel, cruel system. And again, I don't know from it personally, but I know from it from my best friend who was in the foster care system for a majority of her life, and it's just not a good system, a good upbringing for a child. You do have those rare cases where they are treated right and they are loved by whoever their foster family is, but a lot of them are just doing it to get a paycheck from the government, if I'm being completely honest. I would love to be able to save a child from being in the foster care system for their whole life. As far as giving up your baby for adoption, there are so many people that can't have babies, so many people, and I don't know, I think it would be a really amazing thing to be able to give your gift, I guess, to somebody else that you know you can't provide for, but you don't want to do an abortion. Do adoption, you know? Know that your child is going to somebody that is going to love them and take care of them and give them the best life possible. Number 5, baby piercing. I agree with it. I have had my ears pierced since I was a baby. My parents got my ears pierced for me before I was 1, for sure. I honestly wanted to get Hendrix's ears pierced for the longest time, but everybody already thinks he looks like a little girl, and him having diamond studs would just further validate their point, everybody's point of him looking like a little girl. Even though I don't see him looking like a little girl, a lot of people think that he is. It's the big eyes and the curly hair and those big lips. He looks just like me, but baby piercing, sure, why not? Again, personal choice, go ahead. They're not gonna remember having their ears pierced. Although I can see where some parents are coming from. A lot of people don't agree with piercings. I have a lot, as you can tell. I have piercings all over. I've had piercings different places, so not that big of a deal to me. But also, you may want it to be your child's choice. Maybe they don't want their ears pierced, you know? You just never know. Oh, number 6, breastfeeding? Yeah, I guess so. Breast milk versus formula. With this one, again, I just feel like it's such a personal choice. I tried to breastfeed my son for 2 to 3 months, and it just wasn't working. He would fall asleep every time he would be on. I would try to wake him up. He wouldn't wake up. He was losing too much weight. He wasn't gaining any weight. He kept losing weight. So I ended up having to go to formula, which was very expensive. You know, you're thinking, you go through a can of formula in a week to a week and a half. So you're spending $24 every week to a week and a half. That's expensive. That's almost $100 a month. Or is it $100 a month? Around there. So it's very expensive. If I could have breastfed, I would have, but it just wasn't working for Hendrix. But with my next child, which yes, I do plan on having more children, I will try my hardest to breastfeed. CIO, cry it out method versus other. I guess they're talking about, like, if your child is upset, letting them cry it out. That's something I have been trying with my son lately, because he is at the age where he's starting to show his emotions a lot, and he gets upset about things, like when I tell him no, when I tell him to get down off of the table or else you're gonna bust your head open, you know, just things like that. I do try to let him cry it out, even though it hurts my heart to see him cry, because I feel like I'm hurting his feelings. And, you know, I'm just being a parent. I'm just trying to save his life here. But, or when I ask him to say please or thank you, he gets upset because he wants what he wants right then and there, you know? So I let him cry it out. Sometimes I do. Now, let's say he falls off of something, he starts bawling his eyes out, I'm gonna pick him up and hold him, even though I'm probably going to be like, I told you to not stand up on there. I'm still going to hold him because it hurts my heart to have him cry. But if I tell him no, or I ask him to say please or thank you and he starts crying, I won't give him what he wants until I get him to say please. Number 8, spanking. I don't agree with this at all. I was never spanked as a child. I don't think it has any benefits. A lot of people think that it does, which again, your choice, whatever, cool. I just can't see myself spanking my child. He is just such the sweetest little boy, and they learn from experience, if that makes sense. They'll learn with time. I'm very much more with like timeout, or with taking things away, or letting them just cry it out. Again, just because spanking, it teaches violence, I feel like. Again, I feel like a lot of people are with spanking, they think it implements them more, but being physical with my child just isn't my thing at all. I feel like there's other ways that you can deal with a child that isn't listening. Number 9, co-sleeping. I do agree with co-sleeping, although I don't really, just because my son does sleep with me 85% of the time. Like, I'll put him in his toddler bed and then he'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll let him come sleep with me. That's something I wish I wouldn't have done from the beginning, even though it was so much easier to just, he would wake up at 2 in the morning to want to eat and I would just roll over and give it to him, you know? But with my next child, I'm definitely not going to do co-sleeping. They'll be sleeping in their crib and their pack and play from the jump. I won't be lazy about it and just keep them in the bed with me because it's easier. Number 10, home versus public versus private versus charter schooling. I don't know what charter schooling is. Private, it's too fucking expensive. There's no reason for it. I don't agree with private schools, honestly. Not that I don't agree with it, it's just a waste of money in my opinion. Home versus public. Homeschooling, I honestly don't agree with it just because although there is groups of homeschooling kids, I feel like they need that social life in public schools to be able to get that stimulation going. I don't think it's good for your child to be with you 24/7, especially with homeschooling. So public schooling. 11, vaccinations. I do agree with getting your child vaccinated. Again, personal choice, but there's just so many things that can go wrong without vaccinating. But I guess there is things that could go wrong with vaccinating. But if I could get my child vaccinated, I would. We have this whole big old thing that's been going on since he turned 1 with Medicaid and not being able to get him insurance. So he hasn't gotten vaccinated in over a year, which I feel terrible about because he can't go to daycare, all that shit. So I agree with getting your kid vaccinated, although I haven't gotten him vaccinated, not from personal choice, just from the fact that this government system is not the best. 12, medicating children. I agree with that. When Hendrix is sick, I give him medicine. I give him baby medicine, baby cough medicine, baby Benadryl, just because it helps him feel better. 13, cloth versus disposable diapers. I always told myself that I have been telling myself that with my next child, I will be doing cloth diapers just because although it may gross you out, it saves you so much fucking money. I mean, think about it, spending 50 to 60 bucks on 15 to 20 cloth diapers, whereas buying a new pack of diapers every fucking week or buying a box of diapers that'll last you about 2.5 weeks. Cloth diaper saves you a lot of money, and I will be doing that with my next child. And last question, store-bought baby food versus homemade. I did homemade a lot of Hendrix's food in the beginning, but when he started eating, I started feeding him at 3 months, honestly, because I felt that he was ready. I made him banana puree. I pureed a lot of veggies and fruits together for him. But that only lasted about 1.5 months to maybe 2 months before he started getting little pieces of spaghetti, like little tiny pieces that I would make like this big so that he could swallow it, that he didn't have to chew because obviously he didn't have teeth at 4 to 5 months. Although I feel like he did get his first tooth around 6 months. But yeah, I started buying like the little baby foods that would have like chunks of carrot in it, chunks of this or that in it. Just because, one, it was easier. It cost the same amount as making your homemade baby food, if I'm being completely honest, and he liked the taste of those. And at that time, we were in a moving process. We were moving up. My parents were selling their house. We were moving down here, so it was just easier to buy store-bought baby food rather than cooking because we never really had the time to cook. You never knew when you were going to have a showing at the house. So, yeah, again, all these questions were really personal decisions, obviously. That's why it gives you 2 options. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like. Thumbs it down, whatever you feel necessary, and I'll see you guys in the next one.